Welcome to World Buzz Bulletin. Today is Tuesday, the 27th of January, 2026. In a world where the brutal cold of winter is being weaponized against the most vulnerable, our headlines today reflect a harrowing struggle for basic dignity and survival. From the besieged streets of occupied Jerusalem to the frozen, dark neighborhoods of Kyiv, the human cost of global instability has reached a critical and tragic breaking point. We turn first to the catastrophic situation in the Palestinian territories. Following the events of January 26th, the landscape of the occupation has expanded through a wide-scale military aggression north of occupied Jerusalem. Israeli forces launched a massive raid on the Kalandia refugee camp and the town of Kfar Kab, deploying snipers on high-rise rooftops and forcibly evacuating families under the shadow of heavy shelling and tear gas. This incursion, marked by the systematic demolition of Palestinian-owned structures, is part of a tightening colonial control that has left thousands homeless in the dead of winter. In Gaza, the humanitarian abyss has been punctuated by the heartbreaking death of an elderly woman in the south, a victim of the extreme cold and the total lack of heating. With 40% of the population now living in sites prone to flooding, and the death toll from this continuous aggression reaching a staggering 71,551, the world is forced to ask, when will this terror finally end? The quest for a free Palestine, a future where families can live their lives freely and with full sovereignty, remains the most urgent moral challenge of our time. As bulldozers continue to dismantle the UNRWA headquarters in Sheikh Jarrah, the message is clear. The institutions of international law are under direct assault. To stand against this terror is a necessity to save humanity itself. In Eastern Europe, the conflict in Ukraine has entered its most punishing phase as the nation endures the harshest winter in over a decade. Following the mass aerial attacks of the last 48 hours, 80% of the country is now facing emergency power cuts. In the capital Kyiv, where temperatures have plummeted to -20 degrees Celsius, 15% of residential buildings remain entirely without heating. This deliberate targeting of energy infrastructure is a calculated attempt to break the national spirit through cold and darkness. However, despite the grid's near collapse, there are signs of diplomatic progress. President Zelensky has announced that a landmark security agreement with the United States is now 100% ready to be signed, following constructive talks in Abu Dhabi, while the front lines in the Donbass remain a brutal theater of attrition. The drive to free Ukraine is anchored in the hope for long-term security guarantees, supported by a fresh influx of thousands of emergency generators from the European Union. The resilience of the Ukrainian people serves as a testament to a nation's refusal to surrender its liberty. As we witness these parallel tragedies, we are reminded that the defense of human life must always transcend political interests. We must stand against terrorism in all its forms and prioritize the restoration of justice for those suffering in Gaza and Ukraine. The yearning for a world where every individual can breathe the air of liberty is a universal cry that cannot be silenced. Free Palestine, free Ukraine, stand against terrorism, save humanity. Thank you for choosing World Buzz Bulletin.